Yeah, started recording now.
Okay. Yo, welcome back to another episode of the Homage Podcast.
Sir.
We via Zoom. It's Justin and Doe.
Once again, we have a very, very important guest with us today. A trailblazer, Miss Dollie Bishop.
Super dope guest by Dollie Bishop.
You guys are so sweet. Hey guys, how you doing?
We are great. Thank you for having time to come and hang with us.
Of course. I'm glad you guys invited me onto the Homage Podcast. I'm happy to be here, as always. Happy to be here.
We're happy to have you here. So how can I say? This is very, very much the space that you are. You're a boss in this space, right? That we're in right now. So can you just share how you got here? Because podcasting is a very new space. And how did you become Dollie Bishop in this space right here?
Yeah, how did I become Dollie S Bishop?
Dollie S
no,
Bishop.
It's fine, but Dollie Bishop is my grandmother. That's how I like to put it.
Nice.
We have the same name.
She said it's like a Tribe Called Quest. You got to say the whole thing.
You know what I'm saying? What is the S a middle name or?
It's my middle name. Yeah, it's Dollie Sierra Bishop. That's my full name. And my grandmother's name is Dollie Marie Bishop, but she just goes by Dollie Bishop. So yeah,
nice. Dollie S Bishop.
That's his eye. How did I get here? I like to say that I kind of interpret things so much different from other people because I always try to look at the positive side and be optimistic about things, right? So when you think of the path of least resistance, one would think like the easy route, no work, just like whatever. But I feel like that was my path, and just knowing what was for me and following what was for me. I come from wanting to be an A&R, moving to New York straight, not even having graduated college, but moving to New York in my last year of college and wanted to pursue A&R. It took me to New York City on my own accord, figured it out. From there, I was offered an opportunity to go into TV with Nick Cannon, is where I met Jamal, a mutual friend of ours. And then, it's taken me to so many places. I worked my ass off. I took chances. I took leaps in faith in places and new cities by myself to figure it all out. But it always worked out when I was going toward what I really wanted and what I thought was for me. But I always was redirected, and I ended up in these amazing places and situations. Once I applied for my internship at Def Jam, that was the first and last time I applied for the job or any position in the entertainment industry. Everything after that, even for my first job as a temp at Universal Def Jam, someone offered me the position to working with Nick. He was like, do you want to be my assistant? And it was just like, I was redirected while also creating my own things. I got the chance to, create a TV show and partner with him on it while working with him as well. So it was like these great opportunities that just took me to podcasting. And that's how I got here. Charlamagne and I connected during my days at MTV and Viacom, and we were working together there. Became really close friends. And when he decided that he wanted to create a podcast network with iHeart and partner with them, he had me in mind, apparently. And that's when I found out, when he called and was like, hey, do you want to run the network? And I'm like, yep, sure. What we doing? Like, what's next? What's up?
It's a no-brainer.
It was a no-brainer. Yeah. So I everything that I had done up until that point prepared me for that. Just being in, wanting to be A&R, it took me through so many different doors and avenues, but I learned so much about the industry, from TV to the music industry. With Nick, it was like radio, because he had a morning show at the time. I was there at 5:30 in the morning. So I got, to see the ins and out of every business. So podcasting, it was like, it's new to everyone, but it's new to me as well. But, we're going to figure it out, because I've been a part of so much to learn and figure out that I got this.
That's what's up.
For sure.
Yeah. So hold on. Let me, we can't gloss over all of that, right? That's way too. A lot. that's a lot of stuff that you've achieved, experienced, and traveled and learned, right? But just so that people know, like, I actually know you, right, in real life.
Yeah.
It's been a little while, and like you said, we mentioned Jamal being our mutual friend.
Yeah.
And I met Dollie. I met you. In a space of some sort of business. We were in the beginning, right? Like you were with Nick Cannon and at Viacom and doing all your business there. And you were gracious enough to help us with getting our clothing brand into the Wild 'N Out, show. Now, I'm infatuated with television. Obviously, I want to do business there. I'm involved in that life now. But at the time, I was like, all right, I would love to see how this works. So we got to go to the show. So people that don't know, right? Since 1982 was making the hats for Wild 'N Out for I don't even know how many seasons, 5, maybe 6, something
from
like that.
The initial season that it came back at season 6, I believe, and you guys did like a 5 or 6 season run.
Yeah,
so it was a while. It was a long.
You know better than me.
Yeah.
and it was funny too because in the beginning y'all wouldn't let us put like
the logo on the side.
Yeah, we couldn't put the logo on the side, so we put it tonal, which is like basically the same color. And then by the 3rd season, we were like, you know what, fuck it, we just gonna do it. You know what I mean? if somebody get mad, then then we just do it. And so from the beginning, Dolly was plugging us in and giving us opportunity. But what I was gonna say was that when we went to Wild 'N Out, I said, oh shit, she is the boss. You know what I mean? Because nothing moved. And that's not, I'm just being dead serious. Nothing moved. And all of these people that you see, I'm trying to think who was there in those seasons. I mean, it might have been Cat Williams or whoever. Everything ran through Dolly. She had the headset on and it was all business. She was like, what? Oh, wait, excuse me?
General. That's all.
That's serious.
General.
Nick would be getting ready. He'd be like, no, you gotta ask Dolly. You gotta ask Dolly. Like, I don't know. Dead serious.
But it didn't start out that way. I worked my ass off on that show. When I came into that show, I was Nick's assistant. That was it. I was only respected as Nick's assistant until I had a magic key. So given the fact that I had just came out of Def Jam, I was connected to people who was connected to artists. So when the show came back, well, Wild 'N Out came back, I was simply Nick's assistant. I was there to get coffee in the morning, get him his bagel, schedule his day, make sure everything was cool, situate Nick Cannon. That's what I was there for. And then it was the first show taping, the second show, because it was 2 show tapings a day. Whoever the artist was, they couldn't get them. They backed out and they didn't have anyone to do the show. I remember this day, I was like, I can call somebody. And they were like, who? And if I'm not forgetting, I called Lenny S. And Lenny S. brought DJ Khaled. And that's when everybody was like, oh.
So that's a nice card. That's a nice card to pull, right?
So it was a card that I could pull. So from that season on, I was pulling cards and getting artists to be booked on the show through my connections, through the label, through Def Jam, and through people I knew. Mainly Lenny. Thank God for Lenny S. And it worked. And then from there, I was getting respected. The next season, they let me produce the show. I feel like I was a hell of a producer because I just figured it out. After that season, it was like I was literally running the show. So it was just like, but it wasn't just like I had to be the assistant and play that role and prove myself by and playing smart. I'm always, life is a chess game, right? You play smart, you're strategic. And I knew when to pull moves and when they would really matter. And it worked.
Definitely. And it sounds like you're very strategic as well. Like, how to play, play the part that you need to play until it's time to level up. And I think that's a trait that a lot of successful people don't really, share with other people. But that's something new. Timing, that's something that's something great to have. Timing. You could have been thirsty. I'm sure other people were offering you jobs everywhere, and that were technically, more sounded better than being an assistant, right?
Yeah. That was a part of the plan. There was another position that was on the table before the position that Nick offered me as his assistant. It was a big R&B singer, very well known, very popular. And
is he singing tonight?
Where tonight?
Versus is tonight.
Right? Who's versus tonight?
Anthony Hamilton and Music Soul Child.
No, but he has already done the verses. He's already done it.
Oh shit.
Yeah, but I was supposed to take that. I was supposed to work with him first. And then it was just like, I called and I was like, I'm going to take this job with Nick Cannon. And they were like, who, Nickelodeon Nick Cannon? I was like, yeah, that Nick Cannon. And they was like, what? It was like, I wish you all the best. And it was the smartest move I think I made as far as my career, because it was the initial point to open every door was between those 2 people. And I went with Nick, although I want to be an A&R, but I somehow knew that wasn't the route.
I found that interesting because that's such a niche thing. Can you elaborate on what A&R? So clearly you have a love for music, right?
Yes, I've always had a love for music. When I was a kid, I was in the mirror thinking I was gonna be signed to Bad Boy when I got older, right? That was my thing. But music just always I was always into the music world. I knew every song on the radio. I knew every artist that there was. I was a love of every genre of music as a kid and growing up. Rap was a thing too, because I had two older brothers who that's all they listened to. So I had to like it or just like hate myself and where I lived. So I got with it. So it all worked out. But yeah, music was my thing. I just wanted to work in the music industry. I wanted to be A&R. I was like, after college, I was calling, got an internship. The guy name was Mark Erberg. He was an assistant, I believe, at Def Jam at the time. And I called him and he was like, when can you be here? And I was like, when do you need me? And he was like, where are you? I was like, North Carolina. He was like, can you be here this date? And I was like, I'll be there. And it was 2 weeks later. And I just packed everything, moved to New York and figured it out. And it all worked out.
Where did you go to college?
Winston-Salem State University, HBCU here in North Carolina. I graduated from there. Yeah.
Nice.
So and that's where you're from in North Carolina?
This is where I grew up. I grew up in Lexington. It's about, I live in Greensboro, North Carolina now, is where A&T's at, if you're familiar. Yeah. But Lexington is about 30 minutes away. It's a little country town. There's nothing special there. Nothing else.
All right. Southern hospitality.
So was it a culture shock going from music to the many things that Nick Cannon was involved in at that time?
Not at all. It was just like, I was absorbing everything. I was learning, I was having fun, but it was just like, I was working. I was just working, I hated being an assistant. I knew that wasn't going to work. I was just like imagining what I wanted my life to be as I was learning the industry and figuring things out, but not really much of a shock. It was just like, I wanted to be in the industry. Now I'm here. Now I have to really figure out what I'm doing while I'm here. And it's all been like, I'm flowing. I've been guided to some amazing opportunities. Every decision I've made has been great toward where I've ended up and where I've become. And it's been like, I'll be after one thing, but I'll again be rerouted to a more amazing opportunity and a more amazing ending than I can imagine. So all has been great. I just flow. That's what I do. I flow.
So you mentioned that while you was plotting your next move and going from being an assistant to doing more, right? You started developing and working on other shows right there. Outside of Wild 'N Out, was there other projects that you were involved in, and at what level?
Yeah, there was quite a few. So there was, while I was working with Nick, I had the opportunity to produce all the live shows and head up the live stuff that he had with his imprint for Incredible Entertainment. So it'd be we put on a lot more mall tours that I would be producing. Full on producing small tours, whether it be involved with his TV stuff from his comedy shows. And then I had ideas of my own, right? I was writing and producing and shooting sizzles and flying to Atlanta and casting people for reality shows, in which I actually put one together. When I knew it was right, I pitched it to him and he thought it was brilliant. He partnered with me on it. We sold it to NBC. We actually had a season that aired on Oxygen right before they actually went crime. And this was in 2016 when it aired, I believe, that series. It was called Like a Boss. And it was a kind of a mirror of my life before transitioning from an assistant into a full-time producer, of being an assistant to a heavy hitter or someone who's well-known and someone who's super busy. And you're a mini boss or a mini version of that and just trying to figure it out for yourself. So it was based out of Atlanta, Georgia. We shot that down there with Nick and Big Tigger. It was a really fun cast, a really, really good cast out of Atlanta. So it was that, but yeah, I was working on things the whole time. And then it was just it was to a point where I was done being the assistant. And I was like, Nick, I found you a new assistant. And I literally brought somebody else into the office. Here's your new assistant. And he respected it. And he was like, what do you want to do now? And I was like, I'm just going to go produce and freelance. And that's what I did. And MTV actually ended up calling me to produce Wild 'N Out on my own accord. It's separate from him. And then that's why I started producing a lot of the stuff that was happening at the Viacom family, which took me outside of that into Married at First Sight, into Lifetime. And it's taking me to a lot of other places that's been pretty cool in the world of TV and producing.
Boss moves from the gate. I love it. Wow. You know what I'm saying? Like a boss.
Your story sounds like it's just a lot. You just keep going, you just keep going. And it's very honorable to see that you're able to switch up, up your lane and sort of, how can I perfect it? Because now you're into production and then you went into podcasting. It seems, your story is very enlightening.
Yo, look, I don't mean to cut you off, but just for full transparency for the people, right? This is how much I respect Dollie's insight and experience, right? Like, so I'm trying to put together these projects. Not trying, I'm doing. I mean, I say that I'm developing these things, and I said I need to talk to smart people, and not for anything, but just to. I need someone very, very, very knowledgeable and that knows they're talking about, just to hear what I'm saying. And I reached out to Dolly recently, and I was like, "Look, this is what I got going on," and so on and so forth. And in 2 seconds, she was like, "You know what? This is a better idea. You should think about this." And I was like, "Oh, wow, you're right." You know what I mean? And now I'm developing something that's really cool, and I'm really excited about it. Not to mention these other things that's going on, but like that's how quick it is, you know. So that's why I had to ask you to be on here, because I was like, these people need to know your story.
Yeah, I feel like I can only authentically be me. That's it. Like I can't fake the funk in any way. I feel like I see people for who they are, and I kind of feel like that in return. Like people will see you for who you are.
Yeah.
And this is me, no makeup. This is me.
You could have fooled us. You look great.
Thanks. Like
beautiful.
Motivation to keep going.
I'm sorry.
What was your motivation to keep going?
My motivation to keep going is I just always felt that there was more. There was more. Like I think it's my intuition that drives me, to be honest. Like there's not a dollar sign. It was never a money thing. It was never just like I want this or I want. It was just like my intuition drove me and guided me. Like I knew when it was a time for me to leave for New York from college. I knew when it was time for me to make moves. And whenever my intuition spoke, I listened and I followed. You know, I that was it.
Are there any people or individuals that you sort of looked at like a blueprint to follow, or sort of, because you know what you're doing is not you wasn't the normal route. So how did was there any inspiration for you heading in those directions?
Not like close to home inspiration or someone that I knew personally. No, like of course I looked at the TV and I heard the radio and I felt the energy that was being created for me to feel when it came to entertainment in that world. And I was drawn to it and I just wanted to be a part of it. And I figured it out when I was in it though. Like I've always felt like I've been a wise kid and I never got whoopings ever. Let me tell you my secret. I had older siblings and I watched what they did and I knew what not to do. So I never got whoopings. I never.
So you're like a visual learner, basically.
Yeah, but I feel like all I need to do is observe and I can get it. I can observe and figure out what I need to do and what I don't need to do, most importantly. And I feel like that was me the entire way through the industry. Like I watch people around me and how they move and how results and how things ended up. And, I knew better and I learned from other people's mistakes or their growth. And that helped, I think, guide my direction in this industry and guide me to just like, be honest, be true, learn outside of this. Don't get too absorbed into this industry. It's not my end all be all. I love it. I'm grateful to be here, but is it my purpose? No, It's no one's purpose to be in this industry. It's much bigger than that. That has to do with helping others around you. But it was just like, I just live and learn and keep going.
I love it.
I respect that. I like, someone that knows how to build their value in situations, and it seemed like that's something you know how to do. That's what allows you to keep going. And I'm just curious to see where this is going to go, because it seems like in a short amount of time you've covered a lot. Even on here, we've only been talking to you for like 15 minutes. I feel like, I know a lot about you. Right? For real.
How is it working with Charlamagne?
It's cool. He's like family. He's like my guy. Like we've been working together now since about 2011. And we've been friends since I think 2010, probably around there, 2011. So we have a great like working setup history and rapport. It's just when I basically run the whole thing. He's very much involved as well, but we just, we always, no decision is not made unless he's aware and I am both aware. And it's a cool working relationship. I think it's the best that I could have asked for when getting to work with my friend.
So hold on. I mean, my fault though. I don't mean to cut you off, but hold on. A lot of people are really like, for lack of a better word, dumb. So I need people to understand.
Are you dumb?
Run. not you. I'm saying people. Sometimes people just be skimming over shit, right? You run Black Effect Podcast Network. Can you tell these people what podcasts are on this network so they understand the level of size of podcasts you're talking about?
Yeah, I can help them out. So the Black Effect Podcast Network has a roster of about 30 podcasts to date. We've been around for a year and a few months. We have All the Smoke podcasts with Stephen Jackson and Matt Barnes. We have 85 South podcast, Carefully Reckless, hosted by Jess Hilarious. Cut to It, hosted by Stephen Smith, Junior or Senior. It's a football thing. That's why I always forget. Sorry. Who else do we have? We have Flame Monroe, comedian, Laugh and Learn, executive produced podcast by Tiffany Haddish. Quite a few fun podcasts. In health and wellness, we have Debbie Brown is Dropping Gems. We have Michelle Williams of Destiny's Child checking in. We have Big Facts podcast out of Atlanta, Music World. We have the Ghettos Boys podcast, the Ghetto Boys Reloaded with Scarface and Willie D. It's a pretty cool roster. We've done some narrative work, podcast called Reparations, The Big Payback, hosted by historian Whitney Dow and actress and legendary Erica Alexander, Maxine Shaw.
Yes.
So we have, it's a pretty good roster of podcasts. Happy Hot Mess, Surrey Hall, Carrie Champion, Naked. I can keep going, but
oh man, I love it.
Google it and then you'll learn.
Listen, I ain't want to put you on the spot. I just want people to know, like, this is not a little thing we're talking about. This is like the major network of podcasting.
And radio, in my world, radio has been dead for a very long time. So like I don't, I listen to podcasts in the morning or whenever I feel like listening to anything, audio. So
yeah.
And basically you named many of the ones I listen to. So
to me, you're like the president of ABC or BT or something, like, you know what I'm saying? It's the same thing.
Yeah,
because podcasts have that much views, have that much listens, have that much social awareness and an impact on the culture. So it's really that serious. Y'all deal with Earn Your Leisure too or no?
Yes, we have Earn Your Leisure podcast as well. That's one of our partnering podcasts on the network as well. Yeah.
The runs the whole gamut of genres.
That's a strong, super strong roster.
Yeah, we got some pretty cool new podcasts coming the next few months. I can't say those names out now, but we're excited to announce those. But it's been cool. It's been great success. We have about 20+ million downloads monthly, and we've only been doing this again for a year. So it's been a pretty good run so far.
How was it working with all those kind of different personalities and trying to make sure everything stays even and afloat?
Yeah, well, it's a team. It's not just me. There's an entire team that's behind this whole thing that's working to put all the pieces and keep everything put together. But it's not bad. I come from a world of talent. Again, I have been a talent person since my introduction into this industry as an intern. So it's like I've always been able to manage and know exactly who I'm dealing with, and I can identify exactly how to meet someone where they are and to deal with them. But our partners are really cool, down to earth people. And I think when you get into a room and the mirror flip of it all reflects you, I think it's easy to communicate. And I think it's easy to have those very open and honest conversations just out front. And that's what it is, because our team it's a 100% Black team, So we're dealing and we have 100% Black creators, 99.9% of Black creators. So to talk and discuss, it's a different approach, and it's a more honest and direct way of communicating it, because we understand each other, we get it without any pretentious, do I need to say this the right way, or do I need to act? And it's express, let's figure it out, let's move on. And we've had great partnerships in communicating so far, and we keep in constant contact with our partners.
It's I know it seems it's a fairly new venture for you, but I don't know if it's just me. It feels like you guys been around longer than this though. I mean, am I right? Even though I know it's a year.
Yeah.
Come a year and some change. But if I feel, I don't know, it feels that, I guess that's the sign of something really good. When it's new, but
it's because they crushing the podcast airwaves, bro. So that's why I feel like forever.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we are one of a kind podcast network that exists today. And yeah, maybe that's just signs that the universe is saying we're going to be here for a very long time and very successful. And it is so, and so it is.
Word. I'm with that.
We see, I just
Wow.
quickly manifested that. It's happening.
That's it. That's it. That's the way it's happening. That's how it's
Yeah.
gonna happen.
Manifestation is real. I didn't believe in that kind of stuff, but I definitely do now.
Yeah.
So now, in with your love for music, so like, what kind? What's your go to? Your go to music, your playlist. Like when you want to get amped, when you. Yeah. What's that? What's that? I want to know. It has to be something good.
No, you know what? It's kind of crazy because I'm still on the Made in Legos album. I'm still the Whiz Kid. Like that's just my still go-to album, just to because from beginning to end, it just never gets old. But I've just been listening. I have a Shazam track playlist on my Apple thing, and I just like it's like 600 songs. And I just put that on play, like if I'm working out or something like that. It's just that simple. I'm more into podcasts. That is my world. That is my audio listening experience majority of the time right now, because I try to listen to all of not every show that every partner put out, but I try to skip in and out of episodes to make sure I'm always listening to our partners.
So are you into like more like self-help podcasts, or like real time story podcast? What's your genre that you prefer to listen to?
It's self-help for sure. Like the Super Soul Sundays was one of my like favorite series to listen to. A lot of the self-help that we have on our roster, like Debbie Brown Dropping Gems, amazing podcast. The Hot Happy Mess, amazing podcast. So it's more self-help. I'm also into like holistic healing and learning. Like I have a million books in here, like 2 that I'm reading now about like natural herbs and how they help, and what they did in ancient times with them. So I'm just like into anything that can help us guide our own oneness and help ourselves in any way that we can.
I think it's good to get into those and it's relaxing, especially with everything else going on.
Yeah,
it's like high anxiety, high energy. Is very good to like tap into something that's gonna center you a little bit. And especially I know your world, you're probably getting pulled in multiple directions.
Yes,
so,
all day.
Yeah.
How does that work, knowing that you're in North Carolina, but is like most of the podcast, is it in North Carolina too? I know All the Smoke, isn't that in like California they shoot it at, or is it?
Yeah, everybody's everywhere. The whole team is remote. So the entire team, all the producers, the head of talent, everybody is like in between East Coast, West Coast, and all of that. So it works because we just keep everything in order. And again, we keep in constant contact with the partners. There's 2 podcasts that's based in North Carolina, Cut to It and We Talk Back podcast. All the others are just spaced out, but everybody has a schedule. Every partner has a producer that's within our wheelhouse that's assigned to keep track and keep things in order. But it's constant, it's communication. I think that's probably the best way of putting it how it works. And then I'm always available via text, via call. I'm not the only one available. There's a whole team. And then I'm always pulled into meetings all day. That's how it works.
Do you like working remote, or you like to do it in person instead?
I have always loved working remote. Let me tell you how I implemented the remote system at Wild and Out. I'm not really going to tell you, but I did.
That's great.
I'm not an office person. I'm not like running to an office every day. I don't like being on a schedule where I have to be here and I have to be here. I'm not in jail, do these certain hours. I want to do what I want. So when I was an assistant, I always envisioned my life like wherever I'm working, I'm gonna be wherever I want, do whatever I want, whatever I'm doing, and I'm here. So yeah, remote is my thing. I'll never go back into the office. I'll never make any of my team members go into an office. As long as they can keep up their work and stay on par, we're good. Because there's somebody else that can, always will be able to do that if they can. So it's like, it always works out. Yeah.
Get right or get out. You know what I'm saying?
It's such an awesome team. It's a great group of people to work with. A really great group of people.
Oh, that's amazing. So I mean, John and I mention this every episode, but just, so we started the Homage podcast when the pandemic started. We wanted to, continue to work on these projects that went to a halt like the rest of the world did. And we figured we wanted to talk to people that, we know had great stories and a lot to offer, and would be beneficial for other people to hear. And we wanted to just show love because that's who we are. I don't care about all that clickbait shit. I'm not a negative person at any means. We've been through a lot already. So we on the bright side and the happy side of things. So that's where the Homage podcast, pay homage, whatever you want to call it. That's how we started this situation.
do you think you're the perfect person to ask this? Do you think that is there any space that isn't filled in the podcast space? Like, is there anything that you think that people should be maybe tapping into without of course giving away anything that you might already have planned, but just like
there's so many podcasts out today. There
Hmm.
is so many podcasts out. I think if there's anything that you are looking for or really want to learn more on or discover or just like understand more, there's a podcast for that. I'm pretty sure of it. There's a podcast for it. I think people should just tap into what makes sense for them and what draws interest. The Black Effect, we create podcasts, I think for it's not I think, but we create podcasts that's for everyone, no matter who you are, your background, where you're coming from. It's just going to be coming from a Black voice and a Black creator, but it's for you and for anyone that wants to tap into who we are and learn more about.
Is there anything where we might be sleeping on coming out of the Black Effect, like any podcast that you say that you believe in that maybe people just have not really caught on to?
Yes, there's a new podcast that we released called the Trap Nerds podcast. It's these 4 kids, out of Texas, and they're just fun, nerdy, ratchet as ever, but so intelligent and so smart. And they talk tech, they talk sports, they talk gaming, they talk anime, and I think it's just a really cool podcast, especially for the Gen Z. This is the new group that everyone's identifying, and that everyone's out to get. I'm sorry.
No, that's perfect for it. Yeah.
It's perfect for Gen Z. So I think it's it's one of those cool podcasts that I think if you're looking for just a crazy fun space to have like a cool experience around gaming, more than likely, the Trap Nerds podcast on the Black Effect is for you for sure.
So that's good. That's good to know. Good to know.
Yeah.
There's a space for everybody out there for sure.
Indeed.
Nah, Dolly, no, really. I know you got a heart out, and for the people that don't.
I normally be asleep at this time, guys. I go to sleep early because I like my sleep one. And I get up. I just like to be up super early because of my workout.
I hear you.
How many hours? How many hours of sleep do you?
6 to 8. 6 to 8.
6 to 8. Yep. I'm a 6.
I'm a 6 to 8. Anywhere in between there, I need it.
I'm 11 to 5 cat.
I'm whatever my kids allow. So that's why I look like the way I do. No, but yeah, we really appreciate you coming on and taking the time and chopping it up with us. And I'm gonna say this on here, on record, I fucked up and I haven't sent your clothes out, and I'm gonna do that ASAP. So I'm gonna do that ASAP because I owe Dolly. Yeah, so I owe Dolly some since 1982 clothes. She should be rocking. You know what I mean? Repping in North Carolina, letting everybody know what time it is.
Of course.
And no, we really appreciate it. And your story is really important.
Dollie S. Bishop.
Dollie S. Bishop.
Dollie S.
Don't forget the S.
It's like Weezy F baby. Don't forget gotta say the F. Don't forget the S. But, sure.
Yeah, hopefully this ain't the last time we get to speak to you. You know what I'm saying? Do this again soon and
absolutely, guys.
It was a pleasure virtually meeting you, Dollie S. Bishop.
Same. Thank you, John. Thank you. Nice to meet you, Osa.
Likewise. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, guys. Thank you so much, Justin. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you very much. We'll talk soon.
All right. Bye, guys.
Good night, Dolly.
Peace, y'all.
Wait, try to stop.
Just bounced on us?
Yeah, why? Like, why do you do that?
Just bounced on it. He can come pop